Hi everybody, Rob Scott here from UC Today, and in this session we'll be focusing in on small business and how they can compete using the latest cloud communications technology. So today I'm joined by Chris Angus, Senior Director at 8x8. So welcome, Chris.
Hi Rob, thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Thanks for joining me. Hey Chris, probably a great place to start would be a quick intro in terms of what you do and what 8x8 do.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much. So, as you said, Chris Angus, I'm the Senior Director for the commercial team in UK and EMEA. I've been with 8x8 for, coming on 6 years now. As you may know, 8x8 has grown within Europe, lots of successful acquisitions. I came as part of one of those acquisitions. I like to think one of the successful ones. And the company we came from, we were a small business. We were less than 100 employees, technology company providing cloud-based contact center solutions for companies of all sizes. Before that, I spent many years operating a small business myself within the contact center sector. So, various stages in my career, I've felt a lot of the pains of being a small business operator or running a small business segment within what seems to be a very enterprise-driven marketplace. 8x8, so for those of you who don't know, we are a unified communications and contact center solutions provider. We provide to all businesses, so from entrepreneurs, startups, right through to multinational organizations of all shapes and sizes. And that can be simple dial tone, voice only, right through to remote working, home working tools. And then right at the other end, you have the video collaboration, as well as multi-channel complex contact center with the intelligent routing and some of the analytics that you've come to know and love.
Great, thanks, Chris. Great intro. Equally, I second that. You've been around for a long time. It's although you might not have been in the UK for a huge amount of time. I'm not sure how many years it is. How many years have you been in the UK?
It's got to be around 10 years or so. We started the acquisitions, I think.
Yeah, it's a relatively fresh brand in the UK marketplace, but certainly you've got a wealth of experience in the kind of communication space overall. So I'm really keen to hear about some your perspective of the small business market and the challenges that they're facing right now, especially against, as you said, against those big brands. So it's a hyper competitive marketplace right now. So how are you helping to help small businesses compete in today's world?
Yeah, you're right. It's hyper competitive in all business sectors. Certainly for us, we start to segment the businesses between the small business and the enterprise and who looks after who. Technology and the cost of technology is probably more accurate. Is often been one of the things that prevents small businesses being able to operate on a level playing field. The requirements to really service customers or get relative customer insight was often too expensive for smaller businesses to take on board, which meant they're always playing almost one hand tied behind their back. The lack of customer insight, speed to respond, whether that's in a sales room or customer services, it would lead to prospects or clients even sticking with corporate brands or going with brands they recognise, making entrepreneurs finding it hard to get off the ground. With unified communications, it evens that playing field slightly. I think that even when we start to look at pure commercial aspect, moving your communications to the cloud and then adopting a one license to have all of your communication tools in one place, it's so much more affordable now. So it's not just the enterprises that can have access to those tools, which really does help the little guy, as it were. If you think about the OPEX models now rather than CAPEX models, that's all relevant in order to make sure that small businesses can get access to the same technology that the enterprise can. We often see a lot of small business owners, a lot of small business companies where people do many things. You have that one come many leadership where the owner might also run the sales team, or they may be the HR person. Being able to have flexibility in routing and communications means that they can be sure that the person they're trying to be in that engagement is the right person. So whether I've got to be a salesperson today or whether I've got to be the managing director today, you can transition between those by the intelligence that unified communications can provide. If you want to talk about some of the features within UC, instant messaging, collaboration, video conferencing, meaning that smaller teams can operate on a much wider scale, often promoting, I guess, a brand much bigger than they physically are, which again helps them provide confidence and reassurance in the consumer market so that customers will be happy to interact with them, given that they can give away the impression and the support and the appearance to be within that corporate entity slightly.
It's interesting, Chris, isn't it? As a small business, I'm a small business owner, but as a small business or an entrepreneur, you always want to be online, don't you? You always want to be connected. And
Right.
Unified Communications as a service or cloud delivered UC allows you to be connected to your customers, to your team, to all the time, which I find invaluable invaluable as a small business owner.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, we operate in an always-on world today, right? I mean, the consumer knows everything before they even speak to you. I think a recent study was that the buyer's decision is 60 to 70% made up before they interact with the company they're looking to purchase from. The information at their fingertips. And as a small business owner, you always want to be engaged, and that can be with people or with your customers. I mean, you've only got to take what we're going through at the moment as a human race. It's a challenge that none of us have ever faced before. And I myself operate almost like a business within a business. I run a small business unit within Europe, and I've got my entire inside team working remotely now. And we have unparalleled access to communications that I can see what they're doing. I can keep them motivated, make sure they're happy, look after their health and well-being. And the UC tools allowed us to run a virtual gym session last week, keeping guys, healthy mind, healthy spirits. So, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we couldn't have done that. We wouldn't have had the buying power or maybe the technical know-how to operate services like that. And that's a real step that the UC market's made to help the small businesses, strive and get by in times like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And for any viewers that are watching this later on in the year, we are right in the middle of the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. Chris is working from home. I'm working from home. We've got kids in the back room. It's pretty crazy right now, but what it is doing is shining a light on UC technology, remote working technology, which is what you do at 8x8, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Keeping the lights on, keeping those customers calling, connecting with your business is invaluable in this time, isn't it? As a small business trying to survive, not just a pandemic, but equally a very busy marketplace. I'm interested to hear how you can help with your small businesses can use your technology to really improve that customer experience, because that's the struggle, isn't it? That's number one for most businesses.
It is, and it's pleasing that we're having this chat, and not necessarily just around what we're going through at the moment. And as you mentioned before, people viewing this later on in the year, we hope this is behind us by then. We hope we're still not living this nightmare right now. But we some of the surveys we've looked into previously is that customer experience was sometimes ignored within the small business sector because it was seen as an additional cost or something which was something which would need additional investment, which is tough to try and recognise a linear return on investment. But we've seen that shift dramatically over the years, and certainly with, again, the always on approach that consumers have. It's the change in how people communicate really is driven by an increased requirement and better expectations. I mean, that the behaviour of the customer has drastically changed. A lot of our smaller businesses now on their second round of investments within our sector. When we often find ourselves here that the way in which we can support the small business is by giving them the ability to have mobile workforces. So you mentioned about working from home, picking up your tool down to work wherever you want to be able to work from. So how can customers interact? As to changing that has been driven by behaviour and a growing demand for increased and better expectations, which flows into the ability to give excellent customer service and customer experiences. The research, if you do your research, you'll look to see that it's 6 times more expensive to acquire a new business than it is to service an existing customer. And once you've built up a customer base, and it falls into those three key pillars of starting a new business, right? That you need to get off the ground, and then you need to survive, and then you need to excel. And the survival mode is really key in the start of a new business. I think it was maybe PwC stated that more than 80% of small businesses actually fold inside the first 18 months of launch. I think a lot of that is based on not being able to have the right tool and technology to support their customer base as they acquire them. With the use of unified communications, you can be in contact all the time. So certainly with the 8x8 tools, you're able to have the right direct calls to the right people at the right time, regardless of where they are. So the time we are now, we have customer service agents, we have sales agents, we have human resources, all using the same tools to be able to communicate with the customers and with the staff. And that means that customers get that feeling that you care, you can communicate with them, you take their business seriously. And then that the customer insight created from analytics allows you to see, okay, so who's talking to who? How many times are calls coming from this person, and why are they calling? And do they prefer to call us? Being able to support your customer channels is really important. So really listening to how they want to communicate with you, and then having the right tools to be able to service those. Voice will always be king. That's my personal opinion. But you see now that in order to maximize contact rates, multiple web chats, email handling, and then voice means that your customers can reach you in a way in which they want to reach you, and then ensure that they're getting through to a person who is the right person. And that's kind of the things we try and achieve with unified communications. And that's one of the reasons why we see more and more businesses adopting the tools over traditional routes to market, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And being able to offer that omni-channel kind of customer interaction is absolutely key, isn't it, in today's world? Because it's changing. It's not, as you say, it's not all voice calls. It probably, voice calls will always be there, but certainly digital interactions have to be accommodated nowadays. And I'm keen to kind of round this up with more kind of focus around your technology at 8x8, because you've got an interesting portfolio. You cover, a full stack kind of solution at 8x8 as far as I believe. But things are changing at 8x8. You've got some new technology coming through as well, or some new offerings. Tell us a little bit more about kind of your small business offering at 8x8.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. So you're absolutely right. We do own the full stack top to bottom. I guess one of the benefits of owning all of the intellectual property means we control our own destiny. So we can push the market on things, we can test things, we can see what our customers want to, how they want to interact with us, without being driven by knock-on license costs because we're reselling somebody else's technologies. So one of the things we've really driven on within the business, and I'll get onto the technology part in a moment, but just as 8x8 as a whole, is we segment the business units. So we ensure that small business buyers speak to small business specialists, so they get the attention and that they deserve and they require. And that goes right through from when they speak to somebody within the sales unit, right through to being implemented and then supported, always dealing with somebody who values their custom. And we often find, why would a company like 8x8, how are you am I going to get the right level of service when you're still selling to, 100,000 £1 million contracts? Absolutely, because the teams are segmented to be specialists in that sector. What we've recently launched, and it's been very successful over the last 12 months or so for our US offices, and it's just coming out now in the UK around April time, is our Express service. So that's our full UC stack. So all the voice, video, collaboration tools, but being able to purchase that via our website without having to interact with a salesperson. So it's almost like being able to pay as you go almost. You can sign up online, you can self-deploy, you can pick the package you want, pick the phones you want if you want to take physical phones still, and actually run through like a walk me session, an online onboarding, and actually deploy yourself. We believe, and I certainly believe, that a lot of our small businesses still operate like consumers. They're owner operated. So they purchase the same way you and I might buy a subscription service to an online streaming platform or a storage platform. So our Express offering really tailors to that market and allows people actually, I am quite tech savvy and I just want to see what's out there and I want to take a few licenses and I don't want somebody to try and sell me upgrades and things like that. And this is a way in which they can actually adopt the solutions without having to go down that path. Again, as mentioned before, tailoring our services to how our customers want to communicate with us. Yes, the salesperson is always going to be there if you want to speak to an expert, But if you don't, and you just want to talk, you just want to walk through your computer, absolutely. And I think it's going to be a real game changer within the small business sector.
Yeah, so self-service essentially, Chris, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can go online if you feel like you've got the skills or the know-how to procure a phone system, a UC solution yourself. Then, I mean, or even if you've got a part-time IT guy, they could potentially go online and purchase it for you. But what you're saying is completely self-service, which is what the small business want ultimately.
I think so. Absolutely. I think from us, like even that's a way to start and get started. That's a way to really test the water. Okay, a lot of people have already bought UC before and had their fingers burnt because maybe they bought from like a mum and pop shop, which is still our American phrase. Actually stepping into an organisation like 8x8 could be quite daunting, and this allows the guys in the small business sector to make that transition at their own pace without any kind of pressure from anyone that's commercially driven. So that's self-service is going to be something I think is really going to help the small business community and keep up that fight sticking it to the enterprise team.
Great stuff. And if people want to find out more about 8x8 Express, they can jump on your website at 8x8.com, presumably?
Absolutely, yeah. And they can, anyone wants to talk to me personally, feel free to. We can share my details and accept invitations from LinkedIn, and we can talk through any requirements or even just sharing ideas. I'm more than happy to facilitate wherever we can.
Great stuff. So it's April 2020. Look out for Express on 8x8's website. But hey, Chris, thanks for taking us through some small business trends today and kind of the challenges that are being faced and how your technology's really helping small businesses to compete in today's world. And amidst this kind of pandemic, I'm sure you're very, very busy right now. So thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me, Rob. Good to speak to you.
Thanks, Chris.